The pitching coach of the San Diego Padres heading into his third season, the pride of Calexico, California. Ruben Niebla is with us here on 97.3 The Fan. Ruben, it's great to have you back on. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me on.
It was great to see you yesterday. I must say, the biomechanics lab, the ribbon cutting ceremony, and then getting to see exactly what the Padres and PLNU have been working on over these past couple of years was very, very impressive. Just give me some of your thoughts on yesterday and this new tool that the Padres will have at their disposal now.
Well, we're excited about the partnership with Point Loma University. It's exciting to be able to say that we can take some of our guys in there and get them assessed and look at their body movements and learn more about them. But I think most importantly is being able to show the guys a little bit of who they are and for them to have an idea of what they're capable of doing, where their limitations might be, what to focus on in the weight room to overcome some of these limitations. So it's pretty exciting, just the whole thing. I thought the ribbon cutting, ceremony was awesome. The rain held off and we had a good time.
And I always wonder, Ruben, like how because there's going to be guys that are maybe, and I don't want to say resistant to it, but maybe need a little bit more pushing and prodding. And then there's going to be guys that want to be in there probably every day, working on something and overanalyzing. How challenging is that for you to manage? Because you got quite a lot of arms to manage.
Yeah, no, I think having a level of understanding of how you can utilize the lab is probably the most important thing. It's not something that you can, just go in there and see changes happen immediately. There's you assess your body, you assess your movements, you assess your kinetic chain, your ground force reactions, and then you work on those. And then you continue to strive on getting to the mound and me as a coach being able to cue that and say, hey, in the lab, we would notice that your lead leg bracing was a little off. Let's work on that. Let's work on that in the weight room. And so you want to see, through time, you want to see improvement. A lot of the other stuff that was there at the lab, the TrackMan use and the ability to pitch design and stuff like that, that we have at Petco.
Sure.
So we're able to see that. We're able to do that there. And, it's almost one of those things where, you do it 3-4 times a year, and that should be enough. And I think educating the players on that is important as well.
That's what I was kind of wondering about. Was obviously you've had a lot of pitchers coming through just in recent weeks, and getting, recorded and have a baseline for what everyone looks like. Will this be something that, maybe once or twice during the season, a starting pitcher may go like, their bullpen session, if you're at home, may go to PLNU just to, see that everything's going okay or if there's been any changes since the last time they were there?
Yes, that's exactly it. And ideally what you're doing is you're doing it at the front end of the season, which we just did here a couple of weeks ago. You do it again midway through, and then you do it again at the end of the season and see where you are at that point, and where that baseline is ending the season, whether you're able to identify fatigue or a lot of our pitchers ended up in a pretty good spot last year where they were pitching at their best. And so you want to be able to use that as a baseline coming into spring training the next year. So once you get those baselines covered, it'll give you a better understanding of two things: going into the off season, what do I need to work on? Or going into spring training, what am I going to focus on? And then we can keep tabs and keep players lined up to their goals.
It really is fascinating stuff. Talking to Padres pitching coach Ruben Niebla here on Ben and Woods this morning. And, you work for an organization and a GM that is constantly looking to improve that bullpen, Ruben. So with every transaction that comes across, what is your kind of process, right? So Padres go out and they sign Woo-Suk Go. And so now, do you go back and dig through video? Do you what is your process when the Padres add a new arm that you're going to have to get ready to be up to speed?
So a lot of times we're having those conversations internally before we sign them
Sure.
about guys that AJ might be interested in. He'll get the opinion of many people, and a lot of times I'll, want to or go. Let's say, for example, I knew that there was conversations and possibilities, before it happened, and so I had already dug into him, look at his pitch usage, pitch metrics, just delivery, where he's failed, where he's had success with what pitches, the percentage of usage, and those are the things that you can just very easily dig into in our system. And then, the big part is getting to meet him and talk to him and get to know what kind of person he is. And that's the stuff that I'm really looking forward to coming into spring training.
Talking about some of the guys who came in from the New York Yankees who will be part of the starting pitching mix, give us your thoughts on what you've seen so far from Michael King, who seems like he's going to figure prominently for the Padres this season, and then some of the other guys, Johnny Brito and Randy Vasquez, even maybe Drew Thorpe, some of the newcomers, what you've seen already.
Yeah, I've been lucky to spend some time with all those guys already. I've seen Michael King throw in the lab. I've seen him throw live, in our bullpen at Petco. So, very impressive, person. It seems like this guy's going to fit right into to a leadership role. We're hoping that he steps in and not to put that on him, but we know that he's capable and he has some attributes to be a leader. He's obviously had a lot of success, coming here in the bullpen, and we're looking forward to seeing what he's capable of doing on the mound and rolling lineups over. And, as a starter, it's going to be a little bit more challenges, but it seems like he's going to be up for it. Brito and Vasquez their stuff is electric. They got really good stuff. Those guys, again, our scouting department did a great job identifying some guys that, have good upside. And those guys are just showing their face into the major league world, per se. And so we're also looking forward to seeing those guys and see what they're capable of doing, with their opportunities now. It seemed like when they were in New York, it was getting opportunities here and there. They broke into the big leagues as relievers, got an opportunity to start, but they really it was out of default, and so now they're getting a real opportunity here to come in, showcase what they're capable of doing, and we're going to be paying close attention to see how they can help us. And the same with Drew Thorpe. I mean, that guy was impressive. The numbers that he put up in the minor leagues, those are real, and another guy that we're excited about.
Talking to Ruben Niebla here on Ben and Woods this morning, Padres pitching coach, I saw how proud you were of Blake Snell. And Blake Snell is obviously a fan favorite and, certainly would love to have a guy like Blake Snell back. What did you unlock in Blake Snell last year? Got off to a little bit of a slow start, and then, next thing you know, doesn't let up a run for, it seemed like 6 months, wins a Cy Young. I saw how proud you were of him. What were those conversations like? And also, you take a lot of pride in that, and I'm sure that gives you a little bit of a chance to puff your chest out as well and say, yeah, I helped him do that. But tell us a little bit about your relationship with Blake.
Well, I think that's why, you and I seem proud, or I am proud. It's because of the person that Blake is. I mean, he's a beautiful person. He's awesome. And so our relationship just kind of grew within time. And, this year it was a little bit different because he did get off to that start where, it wasn't something that we were expecting. The previous year he came out in spring training, if you guys recall, he had that groin injury.
Yep.
So it took him a while to kind of get going, but he finished on a strong note in 22. I mean, in the playoffs, he was one of our better pitchers there. So, this year he got off to a little bit of a slow start. And one of the things that I noticed in him is that, a little bit of anxieties when he would walk guys. There was more conversation based around that, it seemed like, after he evaluated his games with me, the next day, that I was like, Blake, you keep talking about these walks. I go, but I don't see those guys scoring. And as we know, I think it was 14 walks scored the whole year. And so that's an incredible number. And so I think once that started happening, where he was like, okay, I'm going to walk a guy. Yes, I get it. I understand that. But the key to this game is for the opponent to score runs. And that's what Blake was really good at. And he was the best in baseball at not allowing the opponent to score runs. And I think it kind of relaxed him a little bit to be able to say, even though he's at first base, it doesn't matter. Like my stuff is still good enough to be able to get this guy out or the next guy out, or it doesn't matter who's up there. And so that was one of the things. I think another thing is, yes, there was some delivery stuff that we might have been able to unlock there. The usage was huge. Bringing back the changeup, the usage of the changeup was huge. I think that was a pitch that really got him out of situations, out of trouble when he needed that pitch. If we look at the usage of that pitch, it was like 3-1 counts, 2-0 counts, even 3-2 counts that he was throwing it in, and he was getting outs. He was having success with that pitch, and really ended up leaning on that pitch and finding confidence in that pitch. And I think those things are what made it happen last year. But again, I'm extremely happy for Blake, and what's ahead of him, and hopefully it doesn't hurt us too much.
We remember when the changeup was in timeout.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was being misbehaving and was being punished. Ruben Niebla is with us. Speaking of relationships, obviously Mike Shildt is not new to you or the organization. He's been around the last couple of years, but how does that change for a pitching coach with a new manager? Have you had some philosophical conversations and anything that might differ from the way that Bob Melvin went about managing a pitching staff?
We'll see. I think we are. Mike and I have had a lot of conversations this off season. We've had many meetings where we've sat down and talked about it as a staff, as a group. But you don't really know until you get in the game, and you start seeing how he functions, how he's thinking. I know that I prepare. I'm going to prepare the same way to be able to give suggestions on some of the matchups. Understanding our pitchers and what they're capable of doing, and possibly what creates the best matchup. But ultimately, it's going to be his decision. But I'm looking forward to it. I really am. There's a little bit of a different personality there. And so I think his personality and my personality match up a little bit more. I think there's a little bit more fire there. So it's going to be a learning experience for both of us, but at the same time, I think it's going to be a good marriage.
That's great to hear. Talking to Ruben Niebla here on Ben and Woods this morning. Can you speak a little bit, Ruben, about your relationship with the catchers? Because, as you have to learn all of these pitchers and what they're capable of and get everything out of them, your catchers have to do the same thing. And I know we all enjoyed the strides that we saw from Luis Camposano last year. Of course, Ethan Salas is shooting up the rankings of top prospects, and I know you've talked to Ethan as well. Talk a little bit about the relationship you have with those guys and managing your pitchers.
Well, they're the coach on the field. They've always said the catchers are the coach on the field. So I literally treat them like that. I literally, lean on those guys to be able to manage a game, to be able to think the game, to be able to discuss situations with pitchers. There's times when I literally pull the catcher and say, like, let's get this guy to do this a little bit more, and he goes and he takes care of that. And Austin Nola was great at that. We saw that in Gary Sanchez, a little bit more ownership that we were able to give him, and he took great strides forward, I think, calling game. But Camposano has been the one that, a couple years ago, I was like, whoa, he's definitely a guy that has a lot of potential. This guy it just needs a little bit more time and getting back there and getting to know his guys and getting to know the game. And we do have a little bit of an attack plan that might be a little bit unique compared to other teams, but being able to teach what we talk about effective velocity, about tunneling pitches, about attacking weaknesses, about knowing strengths, about knowing situations. That's the stuff that we talk about, and Camposano has embraced that, and he's really, really helped the staff when he's out there. And it's just a similar concept with Salas. That's the stuff that we're already talking to him about. And there's something about Salas, though. He carries himself, definitely not like a 17-year-old. Very confident young man, very smart young man. We're just looking forward for him to keep improving, keep learning, and when the opportunity is there for him, we're pretty confident that he's going to take advantage of it. So, it's going to be exciting watching that young man play.
Well, Ruben, we really appreciate your time. Look forward. We'll see you out there. We'll be in spring training in a couple of weeks. You're going out here in a matter of just days. I do have some bad news for you, though. I'm looking through. We got hundreds of people in our chat, and they're all going, "This was fantastic. We need to hear more from Ruben Niebla this season." So now we're going to have you on a lot more this season. Just get ready for that. I know it's busy once the season starts. You're going to have to carve out some time for us.
No, let's do it anytime. Yeah. Hey, yesterday I got to apologize though. Woods did want to get in on the biomechanical lab on the mound. He was asking me bring in the righty. He was pointing at himself. Yeah. I really did need a Tommy John situation on my hands at that point, and I apologize.
He wanted to show you his 74-mile-an-hour fastball.
Ben, if I could throw 74, I'd kick somebody in the face to be able to throw 74 anymore.
His 63-mile-an-hour fastball is what he really wanted to show off.
Yeah, well, maybe another time we can, if you can carve out 20 minutes, we'll get down there and get some work in.
Thanks, Ruben.
Let's do it. Appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy.
Ruben Niebla, pitching coach for the San Diego Padres.